Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Healing and Trail. This is yours truly coming back for another message. But this time this message is for our water signs. Again, this message is for our water signs. If this is your first time coming to the room, thank you for coming. Get what you need. Leave what doesn't resonate for you. Leave it for someone else. I do also say that this one, unlike the other readings, will not be a timeless reading. This is going to be for the end of the year 2023, going into 2024. We're going to be focusing on what energies need to be left behind for our healing. One thing that we must do is we must heal some things, let go of some things as we begin a new year so that we can truly start anew. And so we're going to see what are some things that we need to leave behind in 2023. So I have already blessed the space. I have not reshuffled the cards. So all of the cards that you will see are on time and directly guided for you. So if you are a cross watcher, again, take what resonates for you and leave the rest for someone else. And we are going to begin in order of the signs. And so that means the first card is for Cancer. So you can have Cancer anywhere in your chart. All right, so there are two types of Cancers the Spirit wishes for me to address. And those are the Cancers that feel like they are alone in the world and the one that tend to sacrifice a lot of themselves. Ironically, we got cards 6 that came out first and 7. So this lets me know that this is definitely an ordered reading, meaning for me in how I process things. These things happen in order. So, and I'm going to read them to you. Alone in the world. Moon phase is the third quarter. Stage is acceptance. In solitude I stand. In solitude I may shine. Under the morning light, in a closed, let me make sure there's no, there we go. Under the morning light, in a closed and silent court paved with stones, laced by trees, a beautiful woman sits naked on a precious bench. Many blankets are draped around her, in color, red and white, like discarded wings. Sentence. I made my home a cloister, my heart a chalice for the faintest breeze, and yet I stand alone. Going dark, waiting for something to come back when we parted ways. We promised each other, I will wait for you and I will come back. We may have used different words like, it's just for a few months, or a sharper pen like, I don't need you. Still, we are waiting. Mind has lost hope body has lost memory, but our heart is still incomplete. It is shrined into a blessed feeling of longing and desire, innocence and hope, but it is also entombed into a well of solitude and distance. It built walls to stall the passage of time, and the walls kept out everything. Will the prince come, or has the world gone silent while we waited? Waiting is a transition. It has a beginning and it has an end. Waiting is the night. Morning brings the sun of a new day. So, for many of you, for some, these are old relationships that failed, past relationships that failed. And then some, for some of you, this is a relationship with your family members. You said some things in the heat of the moment, and you are feeling alone in the world. You feel like you can't connect with your family. You feel like you can't go towards them. You felt like the strings have been cut and severely cut so much that they cannot be repaired. We're gonna get into some few things deeper, um, but I'm telling you what I'm picking up out of these uh, out of the cards, and so I'm going to read sacrifice next. I will say before I read it, I tried to light this candle several times, and so that means for a lot of you, and this goes across all of the water signs, that you have been burning out. You have been putting too much energy. And I feel like that this is what this card is talking about, this sacrifice. The where you sacrifice yourself so much that you put a lot of things before yourself. But we're gonna read it. But I did want to share that before I read it. Moon phase, the waning gibbous stage is anger. Even if I have to break apart, as long as it serves a purpose. Visual seed. A beautiful female knight wears heavy armor. She holds a blade in front of her, and a blade of light slices across her face, showing the deadly seriousness of her stare, the mirror of her resolve. So that's what I was just reading. Going dark. Oh, sentence. I have accepted my duty, and in my release, I found freedom. Going dark. There is a strong power in sacrifice. Our fears, our hopes, they are all chains to a small world. Our sense of self is a small, petty creature of uncertain resolve and shaky horizons. With sacrifice, we renounce our sense of self. We accept to be lost. We accept to be shaken and cut and bruised and hurt and burdened and locked and stricken and despised and gossiped and betrayed and be misunderstood and be left alone to rot, to die, with just words of thanks while the world goes on over our broken dreams. But when we drown our sense of self to sacrifice, we are also a greater person. We are screaming, I exist. I make the difference. We accepted a price to pay, and we used our blood and tears as currency. That gives us the right to stand tall. What are some things that you have been sacrificing? This is actually a transformation, which would explain why you would all feel burnt out because you're giving up the energy of the sacrifice, meaning, like over the years, you have sacrificed a lot. People have walked over you, people have gossiped about you, people have done malicious things to you, your character, what have you, and you have been pushing through. And so now Spirit is saying, now you must sacrifice that. You must sacrifice the person that allowed themselves to be sacrificed, allowed their dreams to be sacrificed. And in that sacrifice, you will find someone new. You will transform into somebody stronger because at that point, you know that I'm hearing the song, I got the power, power, power. And it's like once you sacrifice that weaker side of you, let's call it what it is. It's a weaker side of you, one that is probably more so express a lot of passive aggressiveness. And so now you're at the point where you're going to sacrifice that person, where you're going to be upfront, you're going to be bolder, you're going to talk different, the way you move is going to be different, and people are not going to understand that because that is not quote unquote you. But you are now developing into something new, and it's almost a double reading with this. It is that next step. You felt like you was alone in the world because you went through so much, you sacrificed so much. Even that talked about the sacrifice of love and the hoping that that love would return. And when you truly sacrifice something and you move on from it, you become stronger. And so that the next thing that you look for is no longer defined by uh, the thoughts and the wants that you used to think and want, because your appetite is going to change. The type of people that you normally dated, you are no longer going to date those type of people because you're changing. Like that's going to be very much apparent. I'm going to get my spiritual AF cards because I'm very interested in knowing the message, the real message that you need to shake and wake. Spirit, what do you have to say for my cancers? Oh, okay. No equals a full sentence. You know what punctuations? Okay. You know what punctuates that sentence? Action. We spend so much time explaining our boundaries that we forget to just have a effing boundary. Say no and quit participating in what you said no to. Remove yourself from the situation if you have to. Be your own boundary. And see, that goes along with the sacrifice. I will say that I am a sun sign Cancer, so I identify with both of everything. Um, and so, when we say no, we mean no. Even if we say, if we are in ourselves, and you know how we pep talk ourselves of, well, if this person asked me this, I'm going to just tell them no. Well, Spirit is now saying, hold firm to that word. Hold firm to what you said to yourself that you're going to say no to, and don't change when that person presents themselves and presents that offer. If it was a no from the beginning, say no. That's that sacrifice. You have to sacrifice it. You have to let them know that you are no longer in that space of being used. You're no longer in that space of doing what other people want you to do. Now is the time that you take the reins and you steer. And if you know tarot, you know that Cancer is represented by the Chariot card, which the Chariot has two horses on reins. So you have to take the reins and you have to lead them where to go. The next card says, the moment you start acting like life is a blessing, it starts feeling like one. So that means you have to change the way that you're thinking, the way that you're speaking. Because if you continue to look in the past, you're going to always have that type of energy, that alone in the world, that I have nothing energy. But Spirit is also saying in this moment to take action, right? Knights is about action. Knights defend, Knights protect, Knights take charge. Get into that Knight energy. Now, what it says on the back, get grateful, get grateful, get grateful. If you're looking for answers, the easiest fix to any problem is to start with gratitude. Look around and name something that's awesome. Do you have a truly amazing cat? Yeah. What's awesome about that cat? Aren't you glad it's alive? Do you hate cats and don't have one? Isn't it amazing that you don't have to live with one of those furry little creeps? Okay, now keep going. So, Spirit is saying at this moment to be grateful for the things that you do have. Be grateful for, if you are the person that's alone, be grateful that you have peace in your home because it's just you, or it's you and a pet, or you and a child. But if it's nobody there to disturb your peace, right? You can appreciate the time even more. Why can you love the time even more? Because there's nobody to distract you. In the past, you may have had relationships where the other person wasn't faithful. You don't have to worry about that. This next card says, love like people aren't total a-holes. Right. You have to love. This new you is going to love like you've never loved before. So Spirit wants you all to heal. And so let's see. Let's do a little. Spirit, can you clarify a few things? If there's any questions, it's going to resonate. For that one person who is, or for those cancers, there we go, that feel lost. Tell them how they can clear up this energy. It's definitely a lot of swords energy. Okay, I'm being instructed to take this as swords. All swords. That means this is all a mental thing. It means that there is a mental clearing that needs to happen, because what we have here is the King of Swords, who has a clear mind, clear set of thinking. It's wisdom. And then you have the Five of Swords here. But I'm getting this is your past. So one thing about blackbirds is that, or ravens, is that they are messengers. And this energy is like spirit has been giving you messages. And do you see the figure in the background there? It's like I'm getting that that's your ancestors right here. That's your ancestors in the background. And they've been talking to you and sending you different messages. And it's just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And Spirit's like, I've been giving you directions and you have not been following them. But this is your end result, right? It's like when you get to wisdom, you will be balanced. It's almost like these cards are going in reverse order, but they're not. It's like Spirit is showing you this is where I want you to go. This is where I want you to go. But this is where you are now. So, what are the instructions? You need to follow Spirit. You see the raven above? You need to take action. It's no, I have no doubt in my mind. You have two knight cards here. You have to take action. You have to sacrifice some things. You have to put yourself first. You have to treat yourself first. And as you follow Spirit the way that you're supposed to, as you're taking action towards the new things that Spirit is taking you to, you're going to get a new mindset. The Ace of Swords is here. As you begin to get this divine knowledge, wisdom, understanding in your life, this is where Spirit wants you to go. So there's a mental clearing. Bottom of the deck, Seven of Pentacles. It's going to be very prosperous for you. This is going to be a prosperous things for you, because when people talk about prosperity, you can be prosperous in love, prosperous in health, prosperous in your finances, prosperous in so many different ways. And if there's multiple ways in your life that has been under attack or not as prosperous as you want them to be, this is the moment in time where you start to do the clearing, where you do the mental clearing. For some of you, I'm hearing that it's as simple as you just starting to go to therapy. What are you waiting for? You want to start new habits. You want to change the way you're living, but you're not taking those steps to do so. Remember, you have to take those steps towards what Spirit is saying to you. You have to sacrifice that old you and embrace that new you. I'm hearing that some of you are not going to believe, but you have to. You don't want to go into 2024 stuck. The only way that you cannot go into 2024 not being in a stuck situation is by clearing your mind. I'm hearing that this is for someone who has Cancer in their moon sign, which is ironic because Cancer is ruled by the moon. That is the ruling planet. And I'm now seeing the moon card. It's almost as if you don't believe it because it's this thing has been hidden from you for so long, and you're saying to yourself, if it was that easy, why wasn't this shared with me in a way that I could grasp it earlier? But there's a time and a season for all things. You learned some things while you were, I would say, blinded. But now that you're getting into this new energy, a part of taking action is shedding off dead skin, disconnecting from what does not serve you. And as you're doing that, things are going to start coming to you easier because you are able to tap in. So don't fret that it has taken you this long to get to this point in your life. Don't fret. I didn't do that nearly as hard enough. But that was your reading, Cancers. Thank you for tuning in. Now I am going to go into the sign of Scorpio and see what our Scorpios are having to let go of before the new year. And if you're watching continuously, you already know, but if you are just tuning into the Scorpios reading, you would know that this candle that you see, I had to light it several times, which means that a lot of you have been burning out or may have in the past. Your card is Peaceful Among Thorns. Card number 26. Numerology, of course, that breaks it down to an 8. So let's see. Peace Among Thorns. Moon phase is first quarter. Stage acceptance. The spiritual can't solve the material, but it can transcend it. Visual seed. A futuristic monk, his skin crossed by small circuity, meditates in the lotus position. A 8-pointed star inscribed within a circle is at his back. Like thorns piercing the air. Like thorns piercing the air. Let me read this again. A futuristic monk, his skin crossed by small circuity, meditates His skin crossed by small circuitry, meditates in the lotus position. A 8-pointed star inscribed within a circle is at his back, like thorns piercing the air. A golden lotus aura envelopes his body. Sentence: coexistence of the material and the spiritual is the human way to enlightenment. I'm going to read that for you again. Coexistence of the material and the spiritual is the human way to enlightenment. Going dark. We talk too much about spiritual stuff. Spiritual that, spiritual this. Not that the spiritual side isn't important, especially in an age when everything seems reduced to a materialistic drive. But aren't we going too much to the other side? I have a money problem, go spiritual. I have a health problem, go spiritual. I have a love problem. Think of true love and go spiritual. I want to have sex, go spiritual. If we were truly able to solve problems like this, what is spiritual would have been sold in grocery stores. Sometimes to solve money problems, you need money. And to solve love problems, you need to have sex. Strange, but true. Getting spiritual is not what solves our problems. It is what gives depth to our solutions. It makes them meaningful. It takes us from the small to the wide, from the river to the ocean. But sometimes we are not ready to make it to our center, and therefore it's perfectly fine if we do not. As I was reading that, I instantly got the word balance. Um, I have a very good friend of mine who I had a very similar conversation to. She is not a Scorpio, I will say this. But one of the things, okay, so Spirit just let me know about the candle. So, but one of the things is that you can't depend on Spirit too much. You have to make decisions and utilize your free will to do things to set your path. It's great that you want to have that relationship with Spirit, but Spirit is like, I gave you a sense and I gave you a life to become independent. Spirit doesn't want us to be dependent on Spirit for everything. Yes, we're guided by Spirit to do certain things, but we still have the opportunity to make life choices on our own. Because if we depended on Spirit for everything, we wouldn't have individuality. Everybody would be the same. But that's not how Spirit has created us. Spirit has created us in a way where we each have our own individual gifts, talents, styles, wit, character, whether positive or negative, right? We each have our own uniqueness about us. And the thing about us is that if we were to all be one, we wouldn't really have a need. Because why would we want for anything if all of us have the exact same thing? What would we strive to do if we all had the same thing and the same access, right? Yes, it's hard and it's a cruel thing to think about, but it's reality. Spirit do things to push us in other directions. And so earlier, whenever Saint Spirit was talking to me about the candle, Spirit would say, is that whenever you rely too much, it's like you've maxed out your spiritual credit card. You used it up so much. The Spirit is like, I can no longer assist you. And okay, and one thing I just got was that some of you are asking the same question over and over and over again. The Spirit's like, I'm not answering that. I've given you the answer. You didn't like the answer that you were given, and you thought that the answer would change, and the answer is still the same. I'm hearing you have to pick up your bags and go. So whoever that resonates with, it's time for you to leave that situation or a situation. It's time for you to literally pack up your bags and go. You want there to be another outcome, but Spirit is saying to you right now that there is no other outcome but for you to leave. It's also giving me full energy. I'm seeing the full card, not even the full card from my deck, but from the original card. I'm literally saying, you know, take that. It's time for you to collect your things and go. And it's like it's a life and death situation, but not in a sense of you could potentially die, but it's like your destiny depends on it. Your destiny depends on you leaving at this moment, at this time. I'm gonna pull a message card. Let's see what comes out for you, Scorpio. It says, look at the effing moon. Just look at that thing. It's lovely AF, right? You're welcome. That means you have to when you're at peace amongst the words, it means like no matter how bad it hurts, no matter how bad it stings, you find peace in the resolution. So for you that have to leave, it's like you have to find the peace with leaving. You have to look to the moon. The moon meaning don't share this with anyone, just do it. For some of you Scorpios, you just have to take action. You have to be secretive about it. The moon comes out at night. You can't see everything in the darkness, but it doesn't mean that nothing is happening or nothing is not happening. And I'm literally hearing that some of you will really, and you may watch this years afterwards, but this reading is timeless for 2023 to 2020, going into 2024. And you're going to come across this video and you're going to remember that you said that you were not going to move. I literally heard the words, I ain't moving. I ain't going to move. And I kept hearing it. So for some of you, your stubbornness is going to cause you to miss out on some things. But I'm hearing that for some of you, there's going to be, you can get second chances. But don't live your life hoping and banking on second chances. You have to do what Spirit is asking you to do. Let's see what comes out in the tarot. The Hermit. This is the energy that you have been in. You've been in this Hermit energy. You've been waiting. You've been secluded. You've been at peace. And now Spirit is saying you have to be at peace with this next step. King of Swords. New perspective. Use wisdom. At this time, you have to use wisdom. You cannot fight against spirit. You cannot fight against spirit at all. I'm being directed to go back to the book. There is something that Spirit wants me to read to you. So Spirit highlighted two different things. In order to solve your problems, you have to do the thing that you're having the problem with. For one, which is using your faith. But it's also meaning that you're using the wisdom that Spirit gives you. Right? And then at the same time, Spirit is like, but don't rely too heavy unto me. So use the wisdom that I've given you. Tower moment. Tower card. I just picked this up. So that means that for some of you, this is going to cause a tower moment in your life. But towers are not bad. I call them, these are the movers and shakers of the tarot card. They talk about and address things that need to be shaken up and removed or moved or discussed, mainly because it breaks up the monotony. I almost said soil. So for some of you, you have some seeds that have been planted or seeds that need to be planted. And the only way for you to do that is by breaking up the ground, by having these tower moments, breaking up what you're used to. Okay. Spirit said that that's all. So in this new year, you have to not rely on spirit as much. In fact, one of the cards that Cancer got from the spiritual AF cards is to be grateful and give gratitude. So I would even ask you all to give thanks and show gratitude towards, spirit for giving you the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that spirit has given you. and also be grateful and show gratitude towards where you're going, where your next steps are taking you, because it really shows that without taking these steps that you're literally holding yourself up, and you don't want to be the cause of your own demise. You don't want to fall upon your own sword. That's what I'm hearing and seeing. You don't want to be the person that falls on his own sword. You want to be victorious, and victorious living. And the way to do that is to take action the way you're supposed to. So thank you, my Scorpios. But now it is time to get to my Pisces. Thank you again for tuning in. Again, if you are cross watching, uh, I thank you for doing so. Also, take what resonates and leave what does not. Time. This is not a timeless reading. This reading is for the month of December, the end of December, going into the new year. So we're going to see what Pisces, no matter where Pisces is in your chart, what do you have to clear out for going into the new year? Okay. And immediately you have a card, the same as Cancer's, alone in the world. Let me see if Spirit has another one for you. Spirit says this. I need to pull from the other deck. So I heard the name Charles. So I don't know if you're dealing with the Charles. Your name is Charles. You live on Charles Street. I don't know. But I just heard the name Charles. So if any of that resonates with you, definitely this portion, this next card is definitely for you. Oh, I was corrected. This card is for you. So you have 3 cards here. I'm going to read them to you. The first says, be yourself, even if you're crazy. Stop worrying about normal. Nothing. Okay. It says, stop worrying about normal A. Nothing A people judging. You're cool, weird A. So immediately that lets me know that a lot of your aloneness and feeling like you're alone is that um, you feel like you're the oddball. You feel like nobody can really connect with you because because of your quirks, your aims, your characteristics, right? But then, just like the cancer, so maybe some of you have Pisces cancers, and some of you Pisces may have cancer traits. Um, but it's that sacrificial energy card from before, and it says stop saying yes to S you hate. So stop being the yes man or the yes woman. Learn to say no. And then the last card says there are people who dislike you because you don't dislike yourself. Meaning that some people will project things onto you and feel like, oh, well, this person should feel horrible. Like, and let me give this as an example. So, say you did something wrong to someone in the past, and a lot of people found out about it. A lot of people have this way of believing that people should stay and remain in their guilt, remain in their mess. And spirit is like, no, that's not how that works. I help people get out of mess. I help people get out of things and move and go beyond those things. And so when people tend to try to bring up your past and hold your past over your head, they will ostracize you and you will feel ostracized. And so I am going to read you this card. Again, this came out with Cancer, so you may have Cancer placements in your chart. Alone in the world, moon phase, third quarter, stage acceptance. In solitude I stand, in solitude I may shine. Visual seed. Another morning light in a closed and silent court, paved with stones, laced by trees. A beautiful woman sits naked on a precious bench. Many blankets or drapes are around her, in color red and white, like discarded wings. Sentence. I made my home a cloister, my heart a chalice for the faintest breeze, and yet I stand alone. Going dark, waiting for someone to come back. When we parted ways, we promised each other, I will wait for you and I will come back. We may have used different words like it's just a few months, or a sharper pen like I don't need you. Still, we are waiting. Mind has lost hope, body has lost memory, but our hearts is still incomplete. It is shrined into a blessed feeling of longing and desire, innocence and hope, but it is also entombed into a will of solitude and distance. It built walls to stall the passage of time, and the walls kept out everything. Will the prince come, or has the world gone silent while we waited? Waiting is a transition. It has a beginning and it has an end. Waiting is the night. Morning brings the sun of a new day. As I was reading that last little bit, I heard "The Wait Is Over," but I heard Rihanna's song, "The Wait Is Over, the Wait Is Over," you know. So maybe some of you need to go listen to that song. But you're at the end of this road, basically. You're going into newness. I had to pull up those lyrics because literally the spirit's like, pull up the lyrics. All right. And it is the first verse. I pitch with a grenade. Swing away if you're feeling brave. There's so much power in my name. If you pop off and say it's stadium gon' do the wave, I'm such a effing lady. You don't have to be so afraid. Cause I got room up on my team. You can play, but hold up. It's just the way the game is played. It's best if you just wait your turn. It's getting crowded over here, but babe, the wait is over. Sometimes it takes 1,000 tries to win. The wait is over. Fumble done, you fumble, that's a flag on the play. Baby, if you don't wanna, then you don't have to wait. But together, we're gonna be taking over. It's just the way the game is played. It's best if you just wait your turn. So for some of you, Spirit is saying, for some of you, you it's like you're seeing the world prosper around you. And Spirit is saying, you have to wait your turn. Your turn is coming up. In fact, if you ran track, you would know that there's this term that we would use with say, say Griggs, Brown, and Terry are the last names. To say Griggs up, Brown on deck, Terry in the hole. And as the person moved up, then Brown up, Terry on deck, and whoever else is in the hole. And it means it's like you have been in this waiting period, and now it's over. The waiting is over. It's your time. So the thing that you have to do is continue to be yourself. Stop being the yes man or woman, and embrace this a little bit more, right? You have to be yourself and embrace yourself, because as you continue to embrace yourself, you're actually pouring and building your self-esteem up. I'm hearing like some of your self-esteem has been shot, like to the point where it's I'm as I was getting ready to come up with something, Spirit said life support. Your spirit is on life support because you refuse to see the value in yourself. It goes along with that imposter syndrome. You got to where you were because of your intelligence, of your wisdom, your knowledge, your kookiness, right? Sometimes people will have people come around just because they carry this energetic energy about them. I don't want them touching my books, but they will make sure that the crowd is there to get a good laugh. It's almost that type of energy. So I'm going to read to you these cards. So the first one, be yourself, even if you're crazy. Stop worrying about normal A. Nothing A people judging. You're cool, weird A. There'll be none of that today. Anytime you feel yourself worrying about any of those A's, remember you got to wake up to every morning. You, baby, you. Your job is to make sure you're good on your own terms. Check in with what you really care about and make sure you're living up to that, not what all these A's out there might be thinking. Stop saying yes to the S you hate. We say yes to dumb AS because we want to be cool, to caretake others, and because we think we need a reason to say no. The people we say no to may never understand why we needed to say no in order to be true to ourselves. You don't even have to know why you say yes in the past. Don't get stuck in a process, spiral about it. If you're not into it, just stop saying yes and move the F on. Tell you these cards are brutal, but they're here to wake you up. And the last, There are people who dislike you because you don't dislike yourself. This is true. The biggest revenge we can have on people who judge us is to love ourselves hard and for really reals. Some people are going to talk S about you simply because you are shining bright AF. Shine on. And so again, you're getting into this energy where you need to embrace yourself. You need to stop worrying about what other people have to say. I blame this on social media. I do. Because a lot of people compare their lives to with other people, not understanding their struggle or their access to things. You know, there are people who were born with access to a lot of things, that a lot of resources that a lot of other people do not have, and so we tend to get tend to chastise ourselves and be harder on ourselves because we feel like we should be at a certain place when you really didn't have the same opportunity. The playing field has never been equal, especially if you're a person of color. The playing field has never been equal. We've always had to fight and get past that threshold. That's why they're still to this day first for Black people. They're still first for Black people. So I did want to share that with you because I'm going to give you a little tarot, but I really feel like Spirit is saying, stop saying yes to the people who talk about you. For some of you, you don't even know that it's really your so-called friends or your so-called friends. You call them friends, but they're really not your friends. Four of Wands, celebration. And they usually say that that represents a marriage card. So let's see what's going on. Baby, you are a star. People are going to be celebrating you. That's what that is. See, you got the Four of Wands followed by the Six of Wands, the star. Baby, you a whole star in these streets. Don't, you know, some people may not like you because they don't understand you, but there is somebody out there that understands you completely into their entirety, and they accept and embrace you for who you are. And one thing I must say about that is that it's kind of giving me that same energy of um, one man's trash is another man's treasure. It's like when people don't see your value, other people see it as the thing, the solution to their problems. So whereas some people see you as a problem, some other people see you as the solution to their problems. Uh, Tower moment again. These tower cards. Scorpio just had got that same card, but you are actually getting this card, which means that by you embracing who you are, by you continuing to encourage yourself, you're going to disrupt the plans of the people that try to go against you. Like you're not going to let that bother you. Like in fact, you're going to disrupt their plans. You are the tower moment for these people. Oh, okay, so maybe for some of you this is a love reading. Maybe you were saying you was going after somebody. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I'm starting to get the feeling of or I was getting a download of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And the two most unlikeliest pairs was Roger Rabbit and his girlfriend. I can't think of her name, but I can see her. And if you've ever seen the movie, you would know that Roger Rabbit is one, a rabbit, and two, his girlfriend is a woman. And you will also understand their dynamics. He's the kooky one, she's the sultry, sexy one. She talks very slow, and there's this properness to her. And Roger Rabbit's all over the place. He's jumpy and he's cuckoo and he's bonkers a little bit. That's their energies, and it's like, how did these two meet? It's almost like that's you and this person that's coming towards you, or unless the person's already in your life, I don't know. But I do see that it's like your relationship is going to cause people that at this time moment, like, what? How did them two get together? Because it's what's meant to be. They balance each other out. There's this balance that you have. And oh, I'm sorry, because I did show you have the Knight of Cups here, meaning that there's a relationship coming towards you. Someone is going to come towards you to bring you this love, this happiness. The Hanged Man, new perspective. You have to get a new perspective on life, on your newness. Because as of now, it's like you're keeping yourself locked away. That's giving me, what is it, the Five of Pentacles energy. You're keeping yourself locked away when you have this. The key is right there, and you will not use the key. But once you get this new perspective and you embark on your new journey as, I know who I am, and I'm not going to allow people to use me, I feel like that's when you're going to attract this new person. Yep, Four of Swords just came out next. Because you're in this is how you are right now. You're sleeping. It's that oxymoron. You're sleeping peacefully, but you're on guard, ready to attack at any moment. You're guarded, but yet it's like, okay, if somebody come, I got them. I already have it set. Six of Pentacles. And this relationship is going to be one where there's going to be equal give and take. And I'm hearing and getting, it's like one of those continual give and takes. It's not going to start and then a few months, Lord, a few months later, you decide that, oh, well, this isn't going to work for me anymore. It's like, no, this is going to be a solidified unionship where it's a consistent give and take. All because you start professing that you're alone in the world. You don't even care that you have been alone in the world, because the wait is over. It's almost, you have to have that expectancy in your heart, right? The expectancy in your mind that your situation is going to change. And it's like, it's going to change. I am interested in knowing. Yep. The bottom of the deck is Three of Swords. Some of you, this is where you are. Now, mind you, and I have shuffled these cards and shuffled these cards. You have this. This is that energy, alone in the world. So that is my readings for you all, Pisces. I hope you enjoy. If you have watched the entire readings, thank you. Again, these are for my water signs. There was a candle burning. If you were just joining or just joined for the Pisces reading, there was a candle burning and it went out. but or it wouldn't light the first time. It kept blowing out. Let me put it that way. But now it appears that it is going out, but it is still burning. Like there's heat coming out of here. So Pisces, it lets me know that, and I know I said I was going to end the reading, but I must share this with you. It's like you still have oil in your lamp to burn before you get a refill. Because some of you are feeling like you have tapped out, and Spirit is saying, nope, you still have a little bit more in you. You still have a little bit push. So as this new year comes into to play, embrace this newness because you have the energy and the strength to carry you through. You have to just continue to encourage yourself, continue to expect um, what most people would not expect you to do. Be that tower moment for them and watch how things start to happen and unfold for you because you break out of that your norm. So thank you again for tuning in. You all have a good night.